thank you all for coming out. We will get this done in 1 hour. I know that everybody's busy, and we appreciate you coming out this evening. My name is Eric Griffin. I'm the trip director for our London trip next year. Again, those folks that weren't able to be here, either students or adults, we're going to videotape this, and I'll put this up on YouTube. Send everybody the link. So if there's any confusion, so you know, you can watch me later on. Tonight we've got a presentation to alleviate some concerns, to get the ball moving, to hopefully make this start to sink in that this is a real thing. We're actually doing this. I know that it's all fundraising it seems, but there are a lot of things that are in place right now. Also know that at the end of the presentation, we're going to show you some things that we are thinking about. You may have questions, we may not address those specific things this evening. It doesn't mean that we aren't planning for those either contingencies or events and everything. We just don't want to overload everybody in this one meeting, okay? So, along with myself this evening, Ron Beck, our Band Booster president, will be giving some presentation notes. Also financial stuff too. He's our finance, or our fundraising chairperson. Sucker! And Sheree McGannon, who's our steering committee chair. So they're going to be giving you some information. So our agenda this evening, fundraising, right? Yes, we're going to talk about that. We're going to remind everyone of the payment schedule. Because very soon, at least in high school land, there will be only one trip that we're doing stuff for, and it will be this one for next year. Just came from another meeting about chaperones for the Virginia trip, so things are busy. Travel dates, we have confirmed travel dates, departures and arrivals, room list, procedure, and sign up. I'm going to take that a little bit later. Again, we are not signing up for rooms and roommates this evening, okay? And we also are aware that there's a good percentage of you that are going, I know nobody right now. I'm in 8th grade, I live in a closet, or underneath my stairs, I am Harry Potter incarnate, and I am going back to London, and I'm freaking out. It's okay. We are not going to sign. We're not going to do that process. We're going to begin to talk about it, and we're going to have plenty of opportunities in the future so that you'll get to know people and want to be with a chaperone or a chaperoned group, a women group, okay? So we're aware of the concerns. This meeting is to alleviate anxiety. I didn't say to students or to parents. I said this meeting is to alleviate anxiety. Rehearsal schedule, yes, this is its own kind of performance ensemble, and we are going to be televised with over, it's like 7 million people worldwide that are going to see us for our performance, and then about 500,000 people on the parade room. So we're going to be good, and we're going to be prepared, and that requires some practice. Chaperones and our what's next sort of upcoming topics, the things that we may not talk about this evening, but rest assured we are adjusting those right now, talking about it. Okay? And with that, I'll hand it off to the guy with the purse strings.
So, wow, okay. On my computer screen, this looks much bigger than what is showing up here for you now. But what the intent of this slide here is to show is you recognize this is a big trip, big financial piece of it, a big trip, total cost. But what we're trying to do as a band parent or band booster organization is to help to alleviate some of that cost. And so what this is here is a spreadsheet just identifying the many different fundraising opportunities that, one, we have completed, or two, what we have coming up. So, as you can see, we're about halfway through, and if you jump to the bottom, I guess, just taking a look at each of the different fundraisers, if your student participated to some little bit level with each one of those, you could potentially realize almost half the cost of the trip, just with what the fundraisers here provided. Again, with maybe a little bit of effort, but not a lot. Some of the, I won't dwell on what we've already completed, but some of the things we've got coming up, I think tomorrow or Thursday the students should be getting information, paperwork, whatever. on Krispy Kreme donut sales again, as well as coffee and tea we'll be getting from Heavenly Cup. So that'll be coming out real quick. Over the summertime, we have a couple other opportunities that are, I think, are very good opportunities for the students or family to be earning money towards the trip. One is at NASCAR at the race at Watkins Glen every year. We have the opportunity to usher the front stretch grandstands. And in doing so, we receive a donation from the track, which then we apply that towards the students' accounts. But what that is, don't get scared by it, but what it is you're checking tickets as people are coming into that front stretch grandstands, making sure, helping attendees find their seats, helping any of the medical issues or whatever, just contacting others to help them. It's not a scary thing. Other people did it last year, like, wow, this was exciting, can we do it again? So it's an opportunity there to earn a little bit of money. And in doing so, nice little added perk for this one is there's a little bit of time on Saturday we'll be responsible for, and more time on Sunday. But if you volunteer to help, you get a wristband for general admission for the entire weekend. So Thursday through Sunday's events, you get in and wander around, do whatever. Just we ask that you participate a little bit the day that you signed up for. The other one over the summer is leading up to the fall. In the fall, we have two shows, Crystal City Competition as well as Mantoberfest. And what both of those are is our school will perform on the field, as well as other local schools and somewhat more regional schools will come, in the Crystal City Competition, for example, and perform and compete against each other. So, 8, 10, 12 different schools come in and perform at this event. Well, leading up to that, we prepare a booklet, or a program, if you will. And in that booklet and program, we have the opportunity to go out and sell ads that will be included in those booklets to various businesses throughout the community or families. And so with that, that's an opportunity that some of those funds can be applied to your student account as well. More to come on that in the very near future. And then as we're looking in towards the fall, one of the things that some of you may be familiar with or going to approach is script card sales. So what they are is story cards, gift cards, if you will. So we're looking to sell some of those in the fall, in which case the student will receive a portion of that total sales into their account. And then again, we'll do the donuts and coffee and tea again. Seems to be pretty popular, specifically the donut one's very popular, especially with the students. So we opted to do that twice. And a little bit of work that a number of people some people put into this. We've been able to work with the travel company and push the final payment date out a little bit. Just a little bit. We don't have any extra wiggle room anymore. But in doing so, we were able to include next year's wreath as well as Beatrix sales. Have that be able to apply to the student account for this trip. Again, there will be no wiggle room beyond that. We've probably wiggled beyond our welcome at this point. But again, the opportunity is there. So if you're looking for more fundraising,
Absolutely, it was fundraising. So some of you have asked, why is the organization fundraising? We know why students are fundraising because you're trying to get that trip cost down. The organization has a budget. We support the band and the music program in a variety of ways. One of those is financially. So we have an operating budget, and that includes things like the water and snacks that your kids get after parades. That includes extra things that competition band needs, like masks that weren't part of their uniform, color guard needs an extra pole or a flag. We do those things. We support the band in those manners, and we have to raise money to do that. On top of that, we also use funds to offset the cost of the trip. Not just London, though London is a huge expense for everyone, but the Virginia Beach trip. We're offsetting some of the cost for that to keep that cost down. We usually buy those t-shirts that your kids get to take home at the end of those, and we usually try to offset a meal or two that wasn't included in the trip. So that's why the organization fundraises. As far as London goes, there are some specific costs that are just kind of like musts for us. And that's where that packing and cargo expenses is. Now, the actual shipping expense to get everything to London is covered under our travel expenses. However, we gotta put everything in a box and we gotta package it up so that it gets there safely. We're gonna pack up all the instruments, the uniforms, the shakos, and the raincoats. They're not covering the cost of the shoes, but we are. So we're gonna get everybody's shoes in advance, and we're gonna ship those shoes over there. That's how we're gonna make sure everybody's band shoes make it to London. And then I don't have to check 150 suitcases for band shoes. So those are all things that we have to raise money for. So that's why you're seeing those fundraisers where there isn't necessarily a student profit, but those are still really, really important fundraisers for our organization. Busing. What you can see up here is that as far as busing goes, there's a nice big dark orange bar right next to the busing bar. That means we've actually met our fundraising goal for busing. So we can take buses now. Phew. Because I don't know how I was going to get everybody there on my bicycle. So we have covered the cost for busing, and we are almost there for packing and cargo expenses. Just have a little bit more to go. The reason there's no dark bars next to West End Show, Dover Castle, additional meal, is we haven't raised any money for that yet. So at this point, those are things we can't financially support, which is why we keep having these fundraisers. Sorry, I'm a no person. So the steering committee as a whole kind of decided where the priorities would be. Obviously, busing, cargo needs, those were first. Then there's things that are not included in the trip costs. There's the downtime. You don't want teenagers to have downtime. So what we're trying to do is fill that downtime without adding any additional expenses for you. So West End Show, how amazing would that be? And then Dover Castle. We want to support an additional meal at the Hard Rock Cafe for the kids. And we also are going to purchase neck wallets for security reasons, so the kids will have a wallet that they're wearing around their neck, tucked in their coats, to have those personal items in. And we're going to purchase bags with the hawk on them. All the kids are carrying the same thing, so are the chaperones, that will make us easily identifiable while we are there as a group, so that we can be located and your children can be located. And we're also putting luggage tags together so that everyone will have the same luggage tags, the same information on those luggage tags, in case there's any missing pieces that we need to be keeping an eye out for. So that keeps your individual cost down to the basic trip cost, and then we do those add-on pieces versus you paying for the trip cost, getting that passport, and then having to come up with an additional couple $100 so that your kids can do things while they're there. So coach bus versus school bus. This is a question we've been asked a few times, so we thought rather than be asked a few dozen more, we'd just cover that. So there's a variety of reasons that we took into consideration when we decided to go coach versus school bus. One of those, which is pretty important, is that school buses don't have room for luggage. We at one point had to call the school district to ask if our cooler would fit underneath the school bus, and it doesn't. So there is not room under there for 150 kids, plus 20 chaperones, plus 10 district employees to all load their luggage, their carry-on, their instruments if their instruments aren't being shipped. There's just not room for that. We'd end up having to take the truck as well, and that's additional expenses, that's more drivers. School buses require 2 drivers to get there and back. And coach bus drivers are more experienced with the travel in the city. We need to be able to get into that airport unloaded and get all those kids safely into the airport. And then we have to get them back out and back into those buses again safely and quickly. So there's an experience level there. And we just want to make sure that everyone is safe. And this is where the decision came from for that. So payment schedule, yay! Everyone's really excited about that one, I know. Especially that September 8th one. So the payments need to be made on time. This is very, very important. We have deadlines to meet with the travel company as well. And those deadlines mean securing things like airline tickets, hotel rooms. And so our deadlines are very important, and that's why we need you guys to make those payments on time. If you ever have any questions about payments for the trip, those will be directed to Mrs. Janelle Matier. She is our treasurer. And our other treasurer is Beth Thomas, and she would be who you would contact if you have questions about your student account. Don't see money in there you think is supposed to be in there, or you have any questions or confusion on that. Now, poor Mrs. Thomas has just become our treasurer, and she's still learning her way around that, so please be patient with her while she learns that process. It's quite the undertaking. And as we mentioned, we did extend that last payment out a little bit. So it was in October, and we have negotiated a November 15th deadline. Now what that means is that is the most important payment, because we have got to make that payment on time. We've got to make that payment on time. So all of those payments are important, but that November 15th we wiggled out so that we could squeeze wreath and Victrix ornaments into that. And so we just need to make sure that that one is very much made on time. As far as fundraisers go, might be some questions about that black and gold event we were going to have. We did have to postpone that. But our intent is to make that an annual fundraiser, not a one-time London, we need some money for London thing, with the reason that that would help us to make a larger amount of money in a smaller amount of time with one big effort instead of multiple individual fundraisers. If you're tired of asking all your friends to buy things month after month, that's what the bigger event is meant to do, is to help alleviate some of that burden from you. So we didn't get it off the way we thought we were going to, which was a little bit disappointing, but failure doesn't make you a failure if you can learn from it. So that's what we're trying to do, and we're looking to reschedule that for the fall. What we learned, that we need more help and input from all of you. We had a very small handful of people trying to do a lot of things at once. And we would like to get as many people involved. If you have ideas, you have suggestions, if you want to be involved, contact me, contact one of the other board members, Mr. Beck. We have a fundraising meeting almost every month. If you can't make it to it, just email one of us, we'll fill you in. We'll tell you where we need some help. You can tell us what your expertise is, and we'll let you roll with that too. We are going to start a little smaller with the next event we're looking for and build from there. So those were...
If you're getting the paint fumes, we painted the stage after Les Mis like today, so don't go on the stage, it's still wet. So travel dates, you can take a picture of this if you want. Departing from CVP High School on December 27th. Again, times will be determined based on weather, based on flight times and number of flights. I would anticipate between 3 and 4 different flights and groups going out. And then our return is scheduled for the 3rd of January. This puts us 2 days out of school. Okay. Originally, the contract had said leaving the 28th, getting back the 4th. That would have had us out 3 days of school, and we negotiated that back and said, no, we really need to be back on that day. So that is your, those are the travel dates, 27th through the 3rd. Again, the parade being on the 1st. Travel expectations. This is both for this trip, but also for all trips. There is an option for, and I'm not going to speak too much to it, I'm just going to identify that there's an option for a couple of families that are in the situation, where families may be meeting us overseas already. We're going on a family vacation, we're going to be over there, how do we link up with you and everything? Also, on the way back, we've had this in the past, and we most likely will have it again, where students will leave a trip. Domestically, it's, oh, we're going to be in Virginia, I'm going to a college visit, my parents are picking me up, and whatever. We make arrangements to have those kids picked up. Now, you can imagine that there's more involved with this, because we're talking about overseas flights, we're talking about making sure passports that the chaperones have collected and are in the safes of their room, that one passport for Johnny has been taken out and is handed over. The exchanging of, this sounds horrible, but the exchange and handoff of children is not something that I went to school for. And I went to school for a long time. What is going to happen, the procedures will be that the chaperone for that child will know the extenuating circumstances for that child's itinerary, and the administrators, we have two that are going on the trip. Mrs. Sheehan, who's our executive principal, is going, and Ms. Caulfield, who's the director of secondary education, is also going. Any transfer of child on the trip or off the trip, they go through them, okay? It's later on, but consequently too, you will have Mrs. Sheehan's phone number, because hers is the emergency phone number that's going on all of the luggage. So you don't need an international calling plan to talk to your child in the case of an emergency, because we have one, all right? And then leave her alone when we get back. All right, so if you're identifying as a family or group that is leaving the trip and not coming back with us, or joining us there, we have a form, or forms, that we're going to need from you. And part of those needs that we have are, we need your flight information, because what we don't want to have happen is, my family's going on a vacation, we're waiting to get our discount tickets, my vacation falls through, it's now November, you're asking us to find you flight information and tickets for, and we're already paid, we're done. I can't get you a flight at that point, okay? So the flight manifests happen earlier. So we don't want to get in any situation where there is anxiety or nerves and whatever else. And likewise on the way back, just making sure that that's taken care of. Now, while on the trip, this goes for any trip. Any trip that is involved with the school district. When you are on the trip, you are on the trip. When you leave the trip, you do not come back onto the trip. Okay? That creates a logistical nightmare. It creates the potential for there to be an injury or something else that gets insurance involved. And if you go off to lunch with your family in Virginia or in London or Timbuktu and you trip and fall and get hurt, and then you come back to the trip hurt, that creates a whole nest of issues. So under no circumstances whatsoever, if a child's itinerary deviates from the group, they stay off the trip. Okay? I just want to make sure that's very, very clear. It is also imperative that when we make arrangements with you as individuals to join a trip or leave a trip, that you are where you're going to be, where we've agreed you're going to be, at the time that you are going to be there. There was a situation before I started working in the school district where there was a group down in Florida. They waited 3 hours in buses at the beach because they were waiting for a child to be picked up by parents. We will not wait. We will not wait. We can't with some of these trip itinerary points, okay? So when you're on the trip, you're on the trip. When you leave the trip and check through the administrators, then you're off the trip, okay? If any of this slide, and I heard that a little bit, but if any of that applies to you, you need to email me now, tonight. Tell me the circumstances, the information, and we'll start having a conversation so that I can officially write everything down. If you've already emailed me, do it again. So that for now, I can see that information. And I'm your point of contact initially that will take that to the administrators and clear everything. Okay, everybody take a deep breath. So, when we do, which we're not doing now, when we do room lists, unlike other trips, the rooming list is kind of a big deal, which is why we're not doing it right now. Because some of you don't know anybody. And some of you think you know people, but you don't, you know? And some of you aren't here. So we're going to be in rooms of 4, okay? In order to make sure that you have at least one person in your room that you know, we're going to make sure that you sign up with person number 1. Like, who's your person, okay? And if there's a group of 4 of you that already know, or we'll find out that you want your room together, then this little circle thing here, that's how you guarantee that you're in the room with the 4 people. Person 1 puts number 2, person 2 puts number 3, person 3 puts number 4, person 4 puts number 1, done. Okay? For those of you that don't have that right now, it's okay. And it may not happen. Maybe you got a buddy that you know, meet at band camp or something later on in the summer, or something changes. It's okay. But as we start to populate this list, if I can start knocking down these room lists now, it's going to make the logistics of travel and excursions and stuff that much easier as we're planning that, because our goal is to have, by the end of the summer, we will have the itinerary set. Okay? The other thing is, think about this. I have 4 children. They don't always get along. And they can't get away from each other most times, right? Except for school. Whew. So be aware that in travel, lack of sleep, different place, blah, 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 you will get on each other's nerves a little bit, and that's okay. We're going to do things to make sure we alleviate some of that, but for the most part, when we're traveling, when we're out and about, when we're in these groups, your chaperone group of 8, which is 2 rooms of 4, you're going to be around each other 95% of the time. Okay? So it's important that you work through that and get along with at least one person that's there. Because we want you to have a great trip. The worst thing that could happen is we spend all of this time and fundraising, whatever, and you come back and you're like, my room. Oh, you know? We want you to have a great time. And that's why we're not doing this right now. But we will, because we have to get started on it. There's no good time to pull the trigger to get that to start. But we're going to. So, think about that group of 8. Now, it's not to say also that your group of 8 is only out with your group of 8, whatever. There's probably another group of 8 that those 2 chaperone groups go together at this walking tour, this excursion point, okay? So it's not like, ladies, you will be stuck in a group of 8 and you will go around and we will have a nun following you with a ruler and that will be it. And we will hover over you or whatever. And gentlemen, you will be able to be around girls every once in a while. It's fine, it's cool, okay? But this is a big deal. But it's not anything that we want you to get anxious over. Okay? And we advance. This is a performance group. The performance rehearsals are not scheduled. Okay? Thinking about what's best in the schedule, which is already packed, and I understand that. The last group I took was not in the New York State Field Band Conference, so our Saturdays were open. We did stuff on Saturday afternoons. Not the case here, right? So what I'm looking at right now is to try to find the sweet spot of what the week looks like so that we can get some rehearsals in. Those rehearsals are going to be required. Okay? So we'll have enough notice. It's looking like Sunday afternoons. Why not Sunday evenings? Because I want it to be light. And Sunday afternoon is when, or in the afternoon is when the performance is going to be anyway. So we're going to be scheduling those. If you are like, my Sunday, I can't do this no matter what, then again, email me this and put that together. But know that right now, the number 1 time is going to be that Sunday afternoon, because it's got the least conflicts on the schedule with everything. So we'll also have 1 dress rehearsal, and I mean dress rehearsal. I mean in uniform dress rehearsal. I mean chaperones in their uniform dress rehearsal. So that we will go through the parade tunes and we'll go through the televised area, because we have 60 seconds to perform. I know, right? Life of a musician, it counts. 1 minute changes your life. So we're going to work the whole parade route, which is an hour or 2. And then that 60-second on TV, us front and center routine is going to be something that nobody's ever done before, but this group. It's going to be amazing. And at the end, they will shoot confetti cannons off, and it'll be like, rah! And people throw money and babies at you, and it's amazing. And the bells of Westminster go off, and you're like, oh, I made it! And you start speaking in a British accent, and then it works out. I mean, seriously, one of the highlights of my life, and I have 4 kids, one of the highlights of my life, that 60 seconds, unbelievable, life-changing. But it's fun to be good, but you gotta practice. So be ready for those schedules. And again, let me know in advance if that day of the week, or if there's a time that's an issue, or, you know, I know some people go from church from like 7 in the morning to 12 at night, and it's a thing, I get it. My wife makes me sing in the choir, I understand. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, so, yeah, we got all these kids going, all the students, your students going, need chaperones to go along with them. So, to do that, myself and Chet Chang will be going as lead chaperones, and we'll be doing just helping to organize the whole group, and then ultimately as we get to London and get into all the events, we'll be the kind of liaison, if you will, directly to the directors, rather than having all the chaperones having one-on-one direct contact with the director. We'll manage that. But anyhow, as was said previously, chaperones will be assigned to 8 students, so it's an 8-to-1 ratio, and those chaperones have been chosen at this point. Not necessarily following an order here, however, we did meet a couple weeks ago as a group, just to begin the conversation, the communication, the dialogue amongst us as a chaperone group, and start talking about some of the expectations, what we'll be doing between now and the time of the trip, as well as briefly about on the trip. In case you're wondering, yeah, we are all paying to go on the trip as well, and so to do so, we're organizing, coordinating some fundraising events that directly offset some of the chaperone costs. As I said a little bit ago, yeah, the trip support planning, obviously we started already, and we'll continue to plan throughout the rest of the year, right up until the point we leave. And also be looking forward in the near future, not near future, but in the fall, rather, we're planning to get together a little meet and greet. So the chaperone would meet with their 8 students, have a little meet and greet, and get to know you a little bit more, and exchange numbers, meet parents, recognize that this isn't a trip to Virginia, isn't a trip to Florida, isn't Washington, D.C., whatever, another country. So if there are any concerns with parents, to give you the opportunity to meet that chaperone and answer any questions, offer any thoughts, input, or whatever about your student. So that'll be coming in the fall. And kind of finishing up then, kind of upcoming topics, what's next? Okay, start with that. So what we've done is had some little pins, or buttons rather, if you will, for the students to have. And there's a variety of sayings on them. Some of them are, ask me about London. Some are London New Year's Day Parade for the band. It has the CPBHS band. Marching to London. But what our thoughts were there was the students could take those, wear them on a jacket, a shirt, a hat, whatever. And as you're out and about in the community or with other people, they say, well, tell me about that. Well, okay, that's your opportunity to kind of talk up the program, talk up the trip with those that you're talking with, and who knows, maybe they'll offer you an extra $5 or something to approach the trip. As you can see here, long list of things upcoming. So as Eric has mentioned a number of times, what we want to do is help to lower the anxiety or lower the stress level. And so there are a large number of things we're looking at, working towards, working on. Don't exactly have all the details. One thing I will note, and Janelle, I apologize. She asked this morning if we take this off, the passports. The students will be required to have a passport. However, we were working towards April 22nd. That is not going to happen. So pretend you didn't even see that up there. We're not able to arrange for that. Look at that, it's gone. But what we will do is encourage you to go to the post office. I don't know if there's specific times that they do regularly for passports, but I do know this past Saturday they did a passport event. I was there, went there twice, and there was a huge turnout. I think there was a number of you there as well. If you weren't able to make it, please try to make arrangements to do so. I do think there is a 6 to 8 week lead time on passports, so please do not wait until November to apply for a passport. A number of other things, I assume you guys can read all this. Plenty of things yet to come. We're looking for more communications as we proceed. I guess at this point.
As long as we're here, I'm going to say it first, and that's going to be our motto for this trip. If you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time. Okay? As we're moving through all this stuff, just so you know, like inside of me, the most anxious I'll be is getting everybody on flights. Okay? Once that happens, we're good. We're golden. That's going to be fine. But I need to make sure, I can't stress enough, that as we go through logistics eventually and the itinerary, you're on time. It's great anywhere else. On this trip, you're late. And if you're early, you'll be on time. Okay? How early? I don't know, that's up to you. But be on time, so be early. All right? Yeah, if there are individual questions, you can come up see us. If there's a pressing question that applies to the whole group, go ahead and raise a hand. Or if you're not sure, yeah. We appreciate you coming out because there's a lot of fundraising and you're like, what's even going on? And now we're going to start communicating out and doing that. One very important piece of communication is CHARMS. If charmsoffice.com, if you have not had success getting into that account, if you are a new student or a current ASMS student, that I created a school code for you that is not a 570, 571, 572 number, and you haven't been successful getting into your personal part of that, which you use your student ID, see me, email me, ask me what that number is, I will tell it to you, okay?
I will be willing to do that.
And Mr. Stork could do that too. So either jstork@cppmail.com or egriffin@cppmail.com or wgriffin@cppmail.com. We'll get you that information so that you can log in. And through CHARMS, no, he doesn't want to do it. no, that's good. So through CHARMS, you'll have your financial information, and that will help you if you have questions to email personal student account stuff toward Beth or regular payment things to this material. Okay. Yes, question.
I know you mentioned this at one of the other meetings about security levels and
Yeah.
international issues. And I know there's been something in London and there's been something in France.
Yeah.
Just in the last few months.
Yeah, so excellent question. We'll just address the elephant in the room. There was a characterized terrorist attack that had happened recently. The insurance portion of the contract kicks in if our State Department deems that traveling to said location, or to London in this case, is not safe to travel. So if they don't recommend travel, then we all get our money back and we don't go. Okay? Other than that scenario, I'll repeat it again. It is the family's, the parents' choice, ultimate responsibility and decision for the child to go on this or not. Okay? We will do everything that we can to communicate out. We're not going to just be like, whatever, it's fine. You know, London burned once, but it's not going to happen again. But in all seriousness, this is your decision as a parent, guardian. All right? And we're aware of that. And if you, by having a conversation with myself, with Mr. Beck, with Sheree, with Janelle, Mrs. Sheehan, the administrators, Ms. Caulfield, if you feel like that is going to alleviate anxiety, then absolutely do that. Absolutely. But I will say it again, it is your decision for a child to participate on this trip now that we've had the school board's approval to proceed with the trip. Okay? Have we had students that are not going on the trip anymore in light of recent events? Yes, we have. Parents' decision. Okay? But it's still going to be the best 60 seconds of your life on that trip. Oh my gosh, it's so fun. It's so good. And that's just the performance, man. Oh. And I know you're saying that, but like, you've seen the Macy's parade, right? Yeah, it's not any longer on TVs. Matt Lauer gets right out of there. Any other questions? Oh, in the back, yes. That's good. Well, they perform the whole way, right? And I'll take you through. So we started in Berkeley Square, where there's nightingale singing and stuff, and jazz tune. And then we go around Trafalgar Square, which is where the British Museum is, and the art museums and everything, and the entrance to, like, down the corridor to get to Buckingham Palace. And then we go down Whitehall Street. And Whitehall is the government street. So 10 Downing is off the side of Whitehall. You go through all of that stuff. There are memorials. We're going to have to practice taking our band that usually wants to be 10 people wide and putting it into 3 people wide, because we don't fit. And then we finish right at the corner where you've got the Westminster Tower, where the bell that's Big Ben is, here, and Westminster Abbey over here, where the chimes are going crazy the whole time for everybody. We finish right in this review station area, and it's incredible. It's just like the seat of government is kind of right there, and all the dignitaries are out. Minus the Queen, she's probably going to be off on holiday somewhere else, as she does. But I'm just saying that. There are things that I can control, there are things that I can't, where the Queen goes. So yeah, right in the heart of that area. It's really incredible. There was a question in the back, yes?
The question I have is, generally the emails that are being sent out is targeted towards band students. There's no distinction between majorettes or any other parties involved. So I just wanted to know, how do I distinguish between who is the email being sent out to and who is the person of contact? And so that I can know for future when there's rehearsals or what email actually pertains to me.
That's an excellent question. There are some bands and drum corps and such that compartmentalize their individual sections of groups. Drumline, which we do for some rehearsal purposes, majorettes, polka, whatever. Our philosophy between Mr. Allen, myself, Mr. Stork, Mrs. Griffin, is that we consider this group as one group. Okay? It's not, yes, you're all individuals, but we consider it one band, one team. By knowing who your advisor is, if it's color guard or majorettes, if you get an email from Judy, it will say Judy on it, and that may be something specifically targeted to majorettes. It's something that we can target in our email going out and say, I'd like this or this or this. When I'm speaking to this group, because we're going to London, I click on trips, I click on London, and it populates all of the information for all of the parents and for the students, so that it's pressing toward that. Also, in addition to emails that you're getting, if you're not on that remind.com thing, I can send you text messages. There's a London group, I'll send that out again. If you're interested in that, to receive text messages, because I don't know about you, I'm not at a computer a lot, but I can get an email or a text alert and go, oh, okay. So I'm using that a lot more. And we have this amazing website, which is going to be our connection to you back here. I've got a chaperone who's a fantastic photographer that's going to be helping out and taking pictures, and then at the end of each night we're going to get together and download through Wi-Fi, because it's 2017, all of those pictures and put them on a blog. And you're going to see what we did that day. And it's not going to be like, oh, they're gone, then I'll see them in a week, and then they'll tell me all about it. Because that's not how we operate anymore. It's 2017. So that communication and redundancy of communication will be when we're over there, primarily through the website and the blog stuff that we're going to set up. Again, future communication information. But I'll say this to you as far as the specific email thing. We will do our best to make sure that when we send an email out, it's important. We don't want to oversaturate you. We want to make sure that there's a balance, but if there's a question, we will err on the side of too much information, because if we did it the other way, we'd get in trouble. Okay? All right. I think that's it, unless there's like a dance party or anything that you were planning on, but I think that we're good. So if there are individual questions, you can come on down, and thank you very much, everyone.
Hey, I'm going to have coffee fundraising, starts tomorrow.
Oh, coffee fundraisers.
Okay, outside.
All right, Mr. Short with the coffee fundraiser, come on down. Oh, buttons, don't forget your buttons, get your buttons, get your buttons.